Welcome to How Should You Waste Your Money This IAE. Today we are going to be exploring the ANVIL line of virtual Matchbox cars. Today I am joined by the original MSR fanboy himself, Captain Core, Mr. Saturday Night, the great Colonel O'Neill, 2 L's, and the good Dr. Moxie. How y'all doing?
Hello.
Doing pretty good.
All
Fantastic.
Right, nice. I'm your host, Ethos, aka Aporian, aka Ethan, and I welcome you to X-Soul's little nook of educated guesses and full-blown imagine. Alright, so basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be running through the line of ships. We're going to be telling you where you should be putting your money, regardless of how much money you want to put down. And we're going to be showing you like the pluses and minuses. Just a forewarning, all of these are our personal opinions. We're not experts on the subject. But we want to bring this to you guys, and we want to tell you what we think, and give you guys a good starting point. So, without further ado, we're gonna get into the new kid on the block, the ANVIL Spartan. So it's a APC troop carrier. I believe it carries 8 total troops. It's pretty quick. It's on the same platform as the Ballista. But once again, it is a ground vehicle. What do we think? Like particularly with where ground vehicles are, and it costs, I believe, 65 war bond. Am I correct?
Yeah, and you also get LTI with it, so you
Yeah.
can try it out and then upgrade it to a better ship.
So you can get the token, which is always a good bonus. But that is also the war bond price. The if you want to upgrade to this ship, it's actually an $80 purchase. Personally, I think your money is probably better put in a spaceship if you're trying to expand your fleet out. Just where ground vehicles are now, but I don't believe this will always be the case. If you're thinking long term, I think ground vehicles are going to be very viable, not because they should be in this world, but because it's a video game and CIG is going to make sure they're useful. So what do you guys think? Like, do you enjoy kind of mobbing up? I know we were playing around with it earlier. What did we think?
Spartan.
I liked
Spartan.
it.
Yeah, I liked it too. It's fun. It's got a good vibe, but it is. I'm more looking forward to something like an ambulance. But as I said, I don't know. I think I would probably put it somewhere like D or C tier, because it's a nice thing, but it's not particularly useful. You're not getting a lot for the money, and you need to also have like a C2 or access to a C2 if you want to carry this thing anyways. So.
I mean, like, the Spartan's it's very limited for what it is, because it's like
It's
the
too
only
big.
thing. Yeah, it's too big. Like, the only thing that can carry it is the Hercules, right? So unless you have a Hercules, you're kind of stumped with what you can do. It kind of feels more like a PvP perk than something that you could practically use in the Star Citizen universe right now, which is okay, because there's tons of ships and vehicles in the Star Citizen universe that aren't practical right now. Like the Reclaimer is completely useless. There's absolutely no use for it right now, but that's okay, because they're going to finish things as they finish them, and they'll bring them out into the universe for people to try out.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment for sure. It's just I think like you say, I mean, just for an org based thing, like if you're an org leader, maybe this is on a higher tier for you, because if you get a couple of these, you can have APC battles, you can load troops, you can do a lot of fun stuff with events. So it has that, but really you need to have a lot of preparation to even use this thing. It doesn't even have a real gameplay loop you can do. I mean, I think we did basically the only thing it's really useful for, which is rolling up to ground facilities. And even then...
It took us a while to set up
Yeah.
to get it going anyway.
I was just going to say, I'm just glad that the Spartan's actually fast, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because we landed 5 kilometers away and drove there, and it took us like 5 minutes, maybe less than that. So at least it's something that you could drive 100 kilometers, and it wouldn't be too bad of a drive.
Yeah, I think it's lightning quick, and if you've got, presumably your buddies in the back with you, you can pass the time. And I think you could probably dodge some fire from larger vessels, just with your own maneuverability. It's still very big and has a very large cross section, even in terms of spaceships.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's move on to the Ballista, which I think has a little bit more use case in some ways as anti-air, but still more of a PvP thing. But I was doing a tank battle with Skunkworks, and oh my god, the Ballista was destroying. It is this, the ground vehicle superiority fighter in a lot of ways, but still a ground vehicle and hard to load in the same way. But it is a little bit more useful. I'm not even sure I'd put it on a higher tier. I mean, they're very similar ships, and they still don't really have a purpose in game. But we'll see how that develops.
I think it's a little hard to use right now. Just the how big it is. I think there's a lot more potential for that than it's a little more useful than the Spartan as of right now.
Right, you can shoot planes out of the sky and stuff. So I mean, it's useful. Like I imagine they would get used a lot at Jumptown 2.0 whenever that comes out. That'll be a good ground thing to have as an installment while you protect your investment there.
I haven't tried it yet, so I don't really know much about it. I don't have such a big ship to try it, You need an A2 for it.
It comes back to the
C2.
thing, right? You don't have a lot of things that can carry it at all. And even when the game's fully released, there still doesn't look like there's going to be that many. It's a little bit better than the Spartan, but I don't know if that warrants a whole tier up, right? Because D is like quite below average, not totally like flunky garbage, but C is just below average. So I don't know if it's just below average. I think it's quite a bit below average. But I don't know. What do you guys? Do you think it's worth a tier jump?
Maybe a smaller version. There's like this car, right? Like the A8 car. I don't know the name right now.
The Tumbrel Cyclone. This is an ANVIL video, but the one thing I will say about that ship is the missile capacity is very low. You get like 2-3 shots and done. So I'd like something that was smaller and more accessible that could do something like that. Like even something I could potentially stick in the top of my Carrack, open it up, and I have like a missile array to fire at people. Right?
Yeah.
But I think the Ballista as it is, it's just. I mean, the Atlas chassis in general, it's just too vast for Star Citizen right now. All right, so how about the Golden Child, the Anvil Carrack? I mean, without even talking about it much, that's S tier.
Oh, yeah.
That is the gold standard for Star Citizen ships. The amount of
pretty
stuff
good
you
multi
can do
crew.
with it. Yeah, it's possibly the best multi crew. I feel like the Hammerhead's a little limited and it's glitchy. The Carrack is right where it needs to be. It works really well. It has the med bed. It's great for pretty much any mission you're doing, and it has a lot of versatility with the things you can put into it.
Agreed. It's fantastic.
It's fantastic, and half of its mechanics aren't even in yet, right? We don't have the drones. We don't have. I mean, it's just an absolutely dead drop excellent ship. I don't think anyone's going to debate with that. It's the most popular ship.
Yeah, that's the highest.
Do cargo runs.
Yeah, the cargo runs are actually not bad on it. It's not bad at all.
Well, the interesting thing with the Carrack is that it's not even meant, like, that is not even its primary purpose. Like, its primary purpose is to be an exploration ship, right? But as an exploration ship, it happens to have like really good cargo space, really good weaponry for its size. So it's just, I think one of the reasons one of the things that makes it an S tier ship is the fact that there's just no other ships that can compete with it right now, right? Like, as far as we know, the only ship coming out anytime soon that is supposed to be kind of on the same level as the Carrack is the Corsair. But even the Corsair is filling a different role than the Carrack is.
It's a different role, and it doesn't have it's not like the big home, it's more like a piratey data running vessel. Whereas the Carrack is, it's still exploration, but more like frontier than like completely discovering new stuff. Whereas the Carrack, I mean, just the medbed in and of itself, particularly with 315, so important these days. It's just like if you can have one, I would recommend. The only thing that really competes right now is the A90 Jump, and that is a gas guzzler. I mean, the fuel consumption is insane. It is just not worth it to fly that thing anyways.
Downside, no missiles, right?
No missiles, no forward-facing pilot weaponry. Right?
Yes. So you need friends.
You do need like even one friend might not be enough. You need at least 2, I think.
Yeah.
And when engineering comes out, you're gonna need 3.
So that is the downside, that you need a crew. However, by yourself, if you can literally stop the ship or put it in basically cruise control, and then go run to a turret and shoot stuff down, and you'll be fine.
Someday we will have II, so some NPCs, like you can hire them, and then you could do it. You could do it solo, some sort, with AI and stuff. Who knows that?
And that's the other thing, right? It has a lot of computer space, so you've got tons of space for AI blades. So you can have,
I think, 8 servers or something.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So yeah, you can have a gun set to drone to forward-facing mode, or you can, have 2 turrets auto track targets around you. When that comes in, I mean, even a solo player is probably gonna get use out of it. But no, I mean, it's hard to argue with, It's just, there's not much to say really.
Yeah, it's the best.
Right, the F-7C Hornet, heavy fighter, pretty nice. It's got a lot of firepower. That size 5 is particularly deadly. The ball-mounted turret. It's not quick. It's slower than like something like a Drake Buck. But it isn't much slower. It's really just the forward acceleration where it's missing. But it does have quite the impact on orbiting. So it's a little slow, but it's tanky. It eats a lot of damage. I mean, this is a good fighter for its size class. I mean, downside's not a lot of cargo space, right? I mean, what do you guys think?
There's a lot of variants.
There's a lot
right
of
now,
variants. But I'm expressly sticking to the regular and the Super Hornet under the idea that you can upgrade with the components that are available in something like the Wildfire. You can put those. You can make your base Hornet a Wildfire Hornet if you want. Without the skin, but still. But
so I'm a little skeptical of light fighters right now. They're kind of weak. That's like my only downside. That's a stronger fighter. Yeah, it's a medium fighter, so it's a little stronger.
But medium fighter is a weird spot. I will agree. I think heavy fighter and light fighter seems to have always been the meta, more or less, right? People are either flying arrows, gladiuses, or wardens.
Yeah, the gladius is a little weakest right now as well, but I'm just the light fighters. They just don't. It's not really the meta right now is to use anything that light, because you just can't shoot that much.
It is, of course, the arena commander PvP meta, right? Because you're taking on other fighters, and that's their wheelhouse. Yes. But for general purpose, I would rather have a Hornet at my back than an arrow, because an arrow is paper thin. So I don't know. Like you die to 1 missile, it's not great, and you could dodge most missiles, but still, if you're a little distracted, that's it. You don't get a second chance. You think B or A? That's where I'm kind of feeling right now. It's above average, but I don't know if it's as good as A tier. But what do y'all think?
I would say B.
B.
Everything that's based off the current way the game's balanced, and just this is PU purely, I would say B, because everything that's not that big right now is kind of, you're at a disadvantage.
No, I think you get a point, especially with the turret buff. Oh my god, that is insanity these days. So I think I can agree with B. The new Windows 7. Any thoughts? Do you think it should be C?
I think.
It can be good. Like,
I mean,
if you have,
it
like,
has so many weapons that it puts it at the B tier. And that kind of puts some ships at a disadvantage now because of the change to how weaponry works over the last couple updates. Since you don't get as many shots with your lasers or your ballistics anymore, it can put some of those ships at a disadvantage, but the sheer number of weapons on the Hornet puts it at a pretty sizable advantage in some scenarios. The only thing that brings it down is its speed and maneuverability.
Yeah, and it's got the lots of firepower, so it can punch above its weight class to some degree. right? You could take on the big ships, and if you're taking it into Pirate Swarm, it's gonna get you through. Like you're not gonna have to worry about that. So I think it definitely puts it at a solid B tier. It's like the standard fighter, right? That all other fighters deviate from the Hornet in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the original fighters in the game was the Hornet. I do think it's kind of unnecessary that the Hornet has so many variants. Like, because, I mean, what makes a ship now is more the components than what kind of ship it really is.
Right, because you can stealth your base Hornet just as well as the stealth Ghost Hornet. You know, it's not like you're losing any EM signature. As long as you choose the right components, you're set.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, the only thing that makes it the Hornet Ghost is the components in the ship. So if you take a regular Hornet, put in the same components, then it's the same as the Hornet Ghost, aside from maybe some looks.
And you just got to take that top turret off, no weaponry, and then you've got the same thing, right? Low EM signature and whatnot. So I think it's absolutely right. It doesn't need the versions it has, but I mean, it's not like they're gonna never sell. Like if they've already sold something, they're just gonna give it to us again.
Yeah,
you know, that's how they operate. Now, I think this is an interesting one. I think a lot of people used to think the Anvil Super Hornet was superior to the Anvil Hornet, but I think I disagree in some way. Missile operator mode does give it a little bit of an advantage, right? You've got the second seat, so you can run it with 2 crew. But if I was running 2 crew, I'd rather have pretty much any other ship. And you can still equip the size 5 ball turret that comes with the Super Hornet on the regular Hornet. So I would put it on the tier below the regular Hornet. I think you're wasting money by choosing that over the regular Hornet.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I mean, it is nice to have a second person in the seat, but the only purpose that person can really serve right now is to operate missiles, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think I might put it on the same tier if you could do something like power triangle assignment. I mean, that's so valuable and seems like it would be such an easy engineering game loop to incorporate, you know? And then you have you know, the guy behind you get to say things like full power to shields, and you know, and it's great. It's just a fun experience, you know. I think if you're gonna go 2-man, I would choose something else. All right, we got a new entry in. The man, the myth, the legend. Memo.
I don't want. Oh.
Alrighty, the Anvil Gladiator. That's next on the list here. It's with the new turret upgrades. I think it's a good ship as well. With the second man in that turret spot, you can do some serious firepower, and it has bombing capability. You know. Which is quite effective, or not bombing, but really good missiles rather. And you know, take what you will. In PvP, missiles are useless, but you know, in PvE they can be a great distraction. So I think, I don't know. It's a fight between B and C for me. I'm leaning towards C though.
I'd agree that it's more of a C tier ship, given the fact that, again, you compare it to some of the other 2-man ships, it does kind of have more of a purpose for the second seat than the Hornet does. But then you look at some of the other 2-man ships like the Anvil Hurricane, and it just does not have the same kind of firepower that the Hurricane does. Granted, it has a different role that it's playing, but I mean, there's a reason why it seems like it is one of the rarest ships on the battlefield.
Yeah, I definitely don't see it used. I mean, I don't know anyone who has one even, and we know a lot of people who have a lot of ships. You know, it's not even on the radar, and I don't think it is applicable to the meta necessarily. So I think I can agree with it being at that C tier level just because of its lack of abilities. And I don't think the Super Hornet deserves D tier. It's not the Anvil Spartan, you know. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna put Anvil Gladiator at old C tier. Sorry, guy. Remember, you went to Lorville, New Deal, and you saw this eye candy for the first time. You're like, oh wow, Anvil Hawk. You know, everyone wants it, everyone's bought it, and we all forgot about it.
What's the lowest tier you got?
Well, apparently I forgot about it, so I don't know.
I've got F tier. Is it worse than a Spartan? I mean, the Spartan's fun. That's the thing, because the Hawk is just kind of worthless in a lot of ways.
I've never been let down more than by that ship.
Yeah. That's a wound that stings. By the way, we lost Core. Apologies. I believe he'll be coming back. Oh, he's got somewhere to be. We were just about to talk about the Hurricane too. Damn. Oh well. All right. Well. Yeah. I think F tier. Just honestly, for more the wound that was inflicted upon me as a young Star Citizen player.
Yeah. It's really weak. EMP doesn't work as well as it should.
Yeah, it's got, there's some minutia, but still, even when you get it at like the highest EM, and then you get that amplitude and launch it, knock out most of their systems. Most of the time, you still need to zap them another couple times, and by that time you're dead because you're not very strong.
Yeah, and I've tested it just by, just having someone sit there with the ship, just blasting them with it, and it doesn't do enough.
Alrighty. The ANVIL Hurricane.
2-man ship. I think that's
so
gold
excellent.
standard.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think currently with the 315 meta, it is the toughest multi-crew to take out right now. I like, honestly. It's just so maneuverable. I guess you could put in a bid for Hammerhead or Carrack, but if you stay far enough away from those two and just ping at them from distance, you can take those guys out pretty effectively. Versus the Hurricane, which is very maneuverable and still tough as nails, and has just it has 4 size 3s that fire forever and 2 size 4s, so it's very deadly.
Well, that's kind of my hope with the game right now, is that we'll see more of the relevant 2-man vehicles, because there's like the ANVIL Hurricane that has an actual purpose for the second person. And in fact, having that extra person in the turret in the Hurricane makes the Hurricane one of the most viable ships right now.
Yeah, that top turret is, especially with how well they're buffed right now, you just can't beat it.
Yeah, I mean, the turrets just, I mean, they're like 3 times better than any pilot-based weaponry. If you had 2-man, I would say this would be a good bounty hunting ship for taking out other players and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think you're safe if you're in one of these things. I think that's definitely an S tier, particularly in the meta.
So they changed those turrets, how those turrets work. It's definitely S tier.
I think that's gonna be something. There's gonna be something down the pipeline, though. I believe the turrets will always be stronger than pilot weaponry.
Makes sense. Which you want to encourage multi-crew games.
This was the only thing that they added that actually encouraged multi-crew in like years. So I'm very happy with it, except I think they overdid it a little bit. They got a little overzealous. You've flown one of these Hurricanes?
Oh yeah, I got the Hurricane last update before the big wipe. And I did enjoy it a lot. I didn't have a gunner, but it was still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, size 4s are nothing to scoff at, really. Or the size 3s on gimbals, because those things will fire forever. I mean, 2 size 3s is...
I'm excited for any AI stuff, so you can replace the gunner by a machine.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. I mean, if that would be such a good solo ship with the blade equipped on the turret. The ANVIL Terrapin, gentlemen.
I used it mostly for evacs or mid-evacs, like very fast drops, and it's quite tanky, right? I don't remember. It was a scanner, right? In a big event.
Yeah, it's got a lot of armor. And it'll get even tougher in the future. I think, as it's stated, for this specific purpose, it's very good at, approaching something, scouting something out, and leaving before they can kill you, and figuring some data out, bringing that back to the main fleet so you can prepare. I think in that role it's ideal, and for what it's supposed to do, it's great. The versatility, not really there. It's got 1 bed, and it's got not that much firepower, and I don't think you could fit anything in it, can you? You can't shove a dragonfly in there or anything, right?
Probably
I'm not sure.
Well, I don't know, but I don't think it fits. But I think it's a good ship, but not like wouldn't be my go-to. I think like a B tier. What do you guys think?
I mean, right now you can't really do much, so I
Yeah,
would
C plus.
C
be
plus.
like. So far, I would put it on D, to be honest.
You think D? As low as D?
Yeah, right now, because sometimes the guns are a little funky, so they don't shoot or empty.
Oh, there's glitches. Okay.
Yeah.
That factor is a big chunk. Into
Also,
it.
Yeah.
there's one chair in the middle. It's a scanner chair. It's also sometimes pretty funky. Yeah.
All right. So it's one of the neglected ships, really. You know.
Oh, dude, the spooky ghost ship. Its whole mission is you fly it in close, and the glitches just take out the other ship.
I mean, these bugs do seem like approaching game breaking in some ways, right? Because you need to shoot things and you need to use the scanner. So these are things that can't be broken, really, and they are. So I think that I can agree with the D tier because of that.
Runs on the approximation drive. Every once in a while, it shifts like 20 feet to the left, just fuses into the ship.
Right.
It's attack. Both simultaneously explode. Hilarious.
All right. Well, I'm gonna put that at a solid D. Any objections before we move on?
Yeah, maybe phrase it a little better.
I give it the big D. The big D, boys.
Yeah, it's better. Oh yeah.
All right, now Memo, you're gonna like this one, the Valkyrie, Valkyrie.
Oh hell yeah.
Open us up here.
I'm
man.
gonna.
It's your baby.
Oh dude, big wide open back doors. It says it can fit only one small vehicle. That's a lie. If you wedge them in sideways, you can fit 2 cyclones in. So ignore that shit. It says one, you can jank into, unless they decide to square up the box a little bit. But I think it's great. It's got like a really solid top and bottom turret. The bottom turret's my favorite. It feels like it has like a better view. I could be totally wrong, but having essentially 8 guns pointed in every direction is also nice.
Yeah.
It did take a hit on its tankiness a couple patches ago. I remember that.
Well,
But
I was shooting some down in 314, and I felt like they were still chonky as hell.
oh no, they're chonky, but they're not as chonky as they used to be. Not that that's a bad thing, because now they feel a little more reasonable. Because like it feels like their whole thing is like they're following in behind, an A10 or whatever. This thing, it flattens the defenses. This thing comes in gun blazons, drops in hot, like lowers the back ramp. Out comes the cyclones or whatever, laying down covering fire. Troops unload, and then they start going into the facility, right? Meanwhile, you're poking at defenses and anyone who's brave enough to peek their head out the door with the side guns and everything. Like, nothing's going to be able to stay there long if there's too much resistance. So it's going to have to unload everyone quickly and then start making a break for atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only real, like, hot water drop ship, right? If you're going
super
into
heavy combat drop, yeah.
This is what you need, because the Prowler is not going to be what you need. It is too stealthy. It does not have enough health. It does not have enough firepower. No,
that's like small spec ops groups.
Yeah.
You're coming into recon.
So this is the dropship, and orgs use it all the time. You can, like you say,
It's beautiful.
And you can put a warthog. I mean, it's full on Halo. It's great. It's just.
It's like when you ask your friend to copy their work, and they're like, just change it up so it doesn't look like you copied off me. Yeah, that's fucking it, dude.
yeah.
The Valkyrie's a Pelican.
I think I want to put it at A tier. What do you think?
Honestly, like, unless that thing is fully crewed, I would probably rest it at, I don't know, like a solid B.
Solid B. I think I can agree with that. I'm kind of thinking in more terms of like if you had the people for it, right?
Oh,
presumably.
If you have the crew and it's full power and like all guns and you're actually using it for what it is, yeah, solid A. It's a decent cruising ship too.
Yeah.
But what I would like to see, actually, as a side note, a second variant for the thing, right?
I like it seems like it has modularity potential,
Yeah, like you could go one way where you add some more cargo space, and then you could slide in a Nova tank or something just to be extra cheeky.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
One, at the cost of some like guns. That could be a reasonable thing.
Yeah, and we need more things that can carry large ground vehicles too.
The other way you could go is you could sacrifice half your cargo space and suddenly get like kind of an inner working of a gunship going. So you can actually see the ammunition being fed into the different turrets and shit, and have double the the kinetic weaponry.
They just have, you know, like easy access for an engineer to just run around, fix and repair, and keep the ship in top shape. Yeah, and then we're also forgetting armor, which on this thing is probably going to be insane. I mean, this thing is going to just reflect bullet after bullet after bullet. So I think it's going to be great in the future. But I think you do bring up a good point. I'm thinking like fully crewed, but the biggest conundrum Star Citizen players encounter is too many ships, not enough players. So most of the time you're going to be down a few members. So for that reason, I could see it being practically a B tier, if that makes sense.
Yeah, if you can have 3 people, I would barely crest it at an A. But like, if you're just flying it by yourself, it's just a B. It's just a B.
Okay. Yeah, I would. I try not to. I would be like, oh, I want to stick it between A and B, but I try not to do that. I think I'm going to put it at B right now. But I mean, it's close. It's a close call. It could be an A tier ship, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's debatable. I could go either way, honestly.
Right. And once again, these are our opinions. You can disagree, you know, particularly in the comments, wink, wink. Anvil Valkyrie, tier B. Okay. That's a good one. Okay, Anvil Aero. It's small, very quick.
Very nimble.
The size 3s used to be the way to go, but now I think the switching out for the dual size ones, I think, or dual size 2s, I can't remember, is a good move because of the capacitor gameplay now. Where it's not so much like size is important, but something like the Talon, I mean, it has size 4 weaponry, but it does less DPS than the Pisces because it doesn't fire long enough, right? Its burst damage is just too low. With the smaller guns, it can fire forever. It can get really close to targets. You can put like shotguns and specialist equipment on it. I think I still see people flying this around. I don't think it's the god it used to be, which was just a better Gladius, but it's good. It's definitely the meta. I think A or B, but I'm thinking A because
I would put it at A.
It's just in the hands of a good pilot. I mean, you can't hit that thing. It's impossible.
It's more maneuverable than, like, I know I'm biased against light fighters right now, but it's more maneuverable than the Hornet. So
way more maneuverable. Like,
in the hands of a good pilot, you're set. It's just that capacitor thing right now makes me more towards like a B plus. I don't know if that's a possible thing.
It's greasier than a fry cook pulling a double shift at McDonald's.
I'm gonna put it at an A because I think I see it in Arena Commander still, and the people use it a lot, and it's got a good loadout. It's it's definitely not S tier. It's not strong enough to be an S tier ship.
Yeah,
a missile just take that thing out.
Yeah, it's I took a missile earlier with my Gladius, and it did some damage.
It does some damage, but
those light fighters just you can eat it. There's light fighters right now, and you just don't put out as much damage as you used to. It's just not the same.
It's a shame, really, with the capacitor, right? Like, I think light fighters need some help. Yeah,
a little more capacitor, but it's
a little boost, something like that.
They're balancing the game. They'll figure it out eventually.
Right. So. Eventually, everything's gonna probably have a purpose. Like, there's gonna be one or two that slip through the cracks, but pretty much everything is gonna be valuable. So yeah, we're telling you, oh, this is what you should buy, but I mean, this is all subject to change, and in reality, it's everything. You're probably going to be happy with it when it comes out as a final product. When you really break it down, I mean, this game. It seems like a scam, but I feel like it's a pretty safe bet because when everyone's ships come out, they're always thoroughly impressed and thoroughly satisfied every single time.
They're highly detailed as well. Yeah.
Yeah, just gorgeous ships too. The Pisces, not the Pisces Expedition, just the Pisces. It's small. It's a good starter. It's got a little bit of cargo space. You got 2 drop seats. Doesn't have a bed, but it's fat, small cross section, and decent FPS. So it can hold its own. But I wouldn't want to have it hold its own. Right? I wouldn't like to be cut out in it, but it could do it if necessary.
So fun factor with the Pisces, like that's especially in atmosphere. That's going to be one of the more like enjoyable ships to fly. It just feels
as
so
a
smooth
companion to the Carrack. I mean, I think it's pretty much perfect for the Carrack.
Yes,
right? It slides through the atmosphere. You leave your ship in orbit. You come down with the shuttlecraft. You know, it can carry a good amount of people because it's got a lot of cargo room. I mean, we've shoved like 8 people in one of those things. And,
oh yeah,
it's fine.
It's just a fun.
Pretty
ship
good for cargo delivery as well.
Yeah. For a starter
if you
ship,
do the small cargo missions. Yeah.
For a starter ship, it's good for delivery missions and even a little light cargo running if you want to get like 4 units of Laranite or something.
Yeah.
So I as where it is, right? It's not going to be even as good as like the Arrow, but where it is for what it is as a starter ship, I think it's an A tier ship, right? It's up there for a starter ship.
Overall, I agree with the B because you can't do everything in it, but if you just want a fun ship to fly, you're just gonna enjoy flying it.
Yeah.
You're gonna be stuck in a small area, like you're not gonna be able to go far with it.
It's true. But if you put the civilian drives on, you can cross system.
Oh yes, yeah.
But that is a good point. You know, it is more or less supposed to be kind of attached to the Carrack. You know, it's not supposed to jump itself, really.
You know, B's. I like B for it.
Yeah, B is a good position.
Alrighty, I'll put it at B. Okay, now we've got the Pisces Expedition. Just double the firepower, basically, and more missiles, and the same everything else, same specs otherwise. So I mean, it's just
double the score and then move on.
we'll put it. I think it's just A tier. It's a
straight upgrade.
Yeah, I can definitely wholeheartedly recommend this one if you're not too worried about a bed. You know, if that's not really something you care for. Now we move on to the concept ships, which I'm not going to tier, but I believe we should talk about them regardless. So starting with the Crucible. The Crucible, let me look up the specs because it's not out yet, so I don't exactly have it on hand. But the Crucible has 2 size 4 turrets that it's gonna have, but no forward-facing weaponry. And it's not supposed to be a fighter. It's a salvage repair ship. They call it a flying toolbox. So it's
in my head, it looks like a squid. It just goes in, does what it does, and then when it gets attacked, it's just like flee, and then it just shoots everything backwards, and it's like fuck off, stop following me.
Right. The ship you just repaired will run interference while you try to get out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's gonna have a lot of value when salvage comes out, but salvage keeps getting pushed back. I think it's gonna stay where it is, but it does keep getting pushed, so it's hard to include that as a thing right now. But this is coming out with salvage, so I don't know. I think it's gonna be good for the salvage. What do you think about this compared to like the Vulture as a salvage ship? I think they're both, when I look at them, they both fit different points, right? They're different size ships, and they're different levels of the same career path, really.
Repairing on the field sounds really helpful or useful. So I guess maybe, who knows how they execute it,
I would want like a Crucible in my militia, if I was trying to defend some homeland, right? Like I would want one of these to repair my ships and take the stuff from my enemy ships to repair my ship, So I think it'd be good to have if you can't have something like a Kraken or a Carrack. Or even the Carrack probably will have limited salvage capabilities in comparison. So
man, just as a hypothetical, I'd want like a little ship that has a turret that sucks people in. It just blips them to a random point within the galaxy or something. Yeah, it gets near them. It's just And then they're suddenly by Grim Hex or something.
You're just like, man, this guy, I don't want to deal with him. I'm just gonna send him far away. He's just being annoying. Yeah. All right. So now the latest concept, the Liberator, the Anvil brick slab wedge, the LCAC, whatever you want to call it. Pocket carrier. It's got the 2 size 2 turrets, and it's got 2 size 5 forward-facing weaponry, I believe. Anyways, it's got tons of space. I mean, this is the size of a large landing pad, essentially, right? It just fits in that space and will hold a lot of stuff. I believe this thing will have a lot of utility going forward. I don't want one personally, but I know I'm gonna have to put my Buccaneer or something on one of these, right? This is gonna be something I deal with regularly in the game when we have more systems. One thing I have a problem with though is that it's only got 2 beds, and I mean it could fit 2 ships, so like you need at least 4 beds, I would think. I would say maybe even 6, but with 4 you could do 4 on, 4 off, 8-man hot bunking. So it's but I think 2 is just not enough. Like the interior needs a little bit of love.
But it can hold ships, right?
It can hold lots of ships, but you can't sleep in those ships, right? If you're traveling a long distance, you can't pull a Luke in his X-wing and just fall asleep while you quantum travel.
I know it's a video game, but in real life, if I was tired, I'd sleep in my ship.
Fair enough, right? But
fuck that shit.
The idea is that, right, the bed is more of a gameplay mechanic than an actual bed, really. That's just, what are you gonna do about it? That's my only problem, but I don't think this is gonna be something like a Valkyrie or a Hercules where you're gonna be taking it into combat. This is gonna be something that's gonna need support if you need it to take things into combat. It doesn't need much defense because it's pretty much always gonna have 2 fighters on it, presumably. So, I mean, that's just extra support. So it's a good vessel, for sure. I would say, fair warning, price is going to go up, right? This is a concept sale. It's already quite expensive. I'm worried what it is going to be in the future. But yeah, I mean, that is Anvil Day. So, I mean, like and subscribe if you find this video helpful. We'll probably do one of these for Aegis and every day for IAE continuing. So if you need a buyer's guide, look us up sometime. I've been Ethos. I've been with Moxie. Been with Memo, been with O'Neill, been with Core, and we'll see y'all later.